The time has come, my worthy apprentices. Another live stream. What's up? What's going on, babies? Yeah, we got another live stream going on today. That's cool. I don't think we did one yesterday, but still, trying to keep strong, going every day, every other day. So, big congratulations to George. He got the Lifetime Achievement Award at Cannes Film Festival. I believe it was it today? Today or yesterday? Or is it tomorrow? Anyways, he went on to mention a couple things about, filmmaking and making Star Wars and Disney Star Wars as well. And I'd love to give my take on it and talk about it as usual. We also have the Acolyte reviews that we have to go over because there are quite a few of them. I have not read any of the reviews. As always, I want to do it firsthand with you guys, kind of like just super fresh. So also, plug 20% off is still going on until the very end of the month. My limited edition Deceived saber is completely sold out. We actually sold 201. So one person's going to be getting like an extra one, I guess, and we'll probably have to put like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But yeah, all 200 are gone. 20% off on everything else. So use code Theory20 at checkout. We also have this. The slider is updated. So you want to go by segment, go by timeline, you can now do that. So you can have some fun with that. Okay. On to business. George Lucas says ideas in the original sort of got lost in post Disney Star Wars films. All right. I'm a stubborn guy, and I didn't want people to tell me how. I think there was an actual clip. Where's the clip? Be good if I could find the clip. Hold on. Oh wow, these are all new. Look at this.
At this period, you created a group that will change Hollywood, American cinema, and cinema forever. By the way, Paul Schrader was here last week.
He's wearing Nikes. I thought he wears New Balance. George switching up on us. Okay, well, let me read this real quick. The 80-year-old filmmaker was being honored at the 77th Cannes Festival with a Palme d'Or for his contribution to cinema. And the crowd, a much younger cohort than it usually seen at these events, whooped and hollered as Lucas walked on the stage. They were rapt as he sat down for a wide-ranging discussion of his life in the movie business. I bet you in the next few days we're going to get like a ton of clips and just things rolling out. So, see, I'm trying to get right to the point here. Star Wars is the franchise that most folks in the audience came to hear Lucas discuss, and the director did not disappoint. He talked about securing licensing and merchandising rights for the first film, something unheard of at that time. The studios didn't have licensing departments. It took longer to design a toy than it did to make a movie, he recalled, and how he got control of the sequel rights, in part because Fox at the time was teetering on bankruptcy. They didn't have faith in the movie, Lucas said. The studio was going bankrupt anyway. They had a lot of movies already, and they were desperate. Lucas defended his Star Wars prequel films against the haters, arguing that critics have forgotten that Star Wars was never meant to be a grown-up movie. It was supposed to be a kids movie for 12-year-olds that were going through puberty who didn't know what they're doing, and are asking all the big questions. What should I be worried about? What's important in life? And Star Wars has all of those things in there. They're buried in there, but you definitely get it, especially if you're young. That's true, you do. People always combat that, and they're like, well, but like Dooku's head came off and hands come off. It's like, well, yeah, but that's today's standards of what's child friendly and not in movies. Back in those days, like in the 80s and 90s, that was like a norm. It wasn't Nobody got triggered off of that. The negative response to his Star Wars prequels, Lucas argued, came from critics and fans who had been 10 years old when they saw the first one and didn't want to watch children's film. The public trashing of Jar Jar Binks, one of the first figures to be cancelled on the then nascent internet, reminded Lucas of the original response to C-3PO. Everybody said the same thing about 3PO. He was irritating and we should get rid of him, said Lucas. When I did the third one, it was the Ewoks. Those are little teddy bears. This is a kid's movie. We don't want to see a kid's movie. I said, it is a kid's movie. It's always been a kid's movie. Lucas defended his decision to go back and clean it up. I'm a firm believer that the director or the writer or the filmmaker should have a right to have his movie be the way he wants it, says Lucas. Fans hoping for a 4K restored version of the original 1977 Star Wars. We did release the original one on Laserdisc. Here we go. Discussing Star Wars sequels made after he sold Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012 for $4.05 billion, Lucas said the new corporate bosses got a lot wrong. I was the one who really knew what Star Wars was, who actually knew this world, because there's a lot to it. The Force, for example, nobody understood the Force, he said. When they started the other ones, after I sold the company, a lot of the ideas that were in the original sort of got lost. That's the way it is. You give it up, you give it up. Oh, that's it. Jesus, dude. Well, I want to see someone combat this now. Oh, but that's the George always changed the script. Let me read it again. I was the one who really knew what Star Wars was, who actually knew this world, because there's a lot to it. The Force, for example, nobody understood the Force, and that's just one aspect of Star Wars. When they started other ones after I sold the company, Disney, a lot of the ideas that were in the original sort of got lost. But that's the way it is. You give it up, you give it up. And I've read Bob Iger's biography, and particularly the part where he, coerced George into selling Lucasfilm. And you might have heard me talk about it before, but, it predates into the 90s where George was making the Young Indiana Jones show, and the show was kind of tanking, and so he wanted to do a season 2, and the board executives at ABC wouldn't go for it, but Bob Iger, who was the head of there, or had some pull, made it happen. And George was very, thankful to him. And so, when it came time to potentially selling Lucasfilm, Bob Iger invited George Lucas to a sit-down at Disneyland Park, and he closed the whole park, and they had lunch. And in downtown Disney, I believe it was, he said. And it's all written in his book. And he literally said, look, George, you don't have any heirs. You're getting old. And I'm paraphrasing. What happens to Lucasfilm when you die? And George is like, well, if it ever comes down to me, selling the company, Disney, I remember what you did for me. Disney's on my mind. So, it's like a 20-year-old favor, essentially, and kind of coming back. And he had treatments for episode 7, 8, 9, as you've seen in many of the interviews that I've had with Roger Christian, Paul Hirsch, and so many others. Nick Gillard. And they took those treatments, they bought them from him, and they never used them. They burned them, so to speak. They locked them away in some archive, never to be seen again. Never to see the light of day. And I believe this is truly because they wanted the rights to them so that nobody could create it. Or to maybe get him to sign the contract and sell the company and do what they want with it and pervert the story. Destroy it. And I think that the only people left that will uphold what Star Wars is in George's mind, and people can, try and combat this as much as they like and say that, we're toxic or this and that, when in reality, I think many of them are toxic. I think the only ones that can really make this right and keep standing up for what George is talking about here, I mean, plain and simple, he keeps repeating things and people just seem to want to go off of a narrative that this is Star Wars today. It's not. He's literally plain and simply saying that it's been forgotten. He's given it up and he's had to let it go. And I think we are the only ones, the George Lucas, fans, are the only ones that will keep the memory of what it once was, what it's supposed to be, what it originally was intended to be, alive. And by no means does that mean you need to ridicule or slander or put down anybody who likes the new stuff. That just means remember where you came from, remember your origins, remember who you are. And that's the original Star Wars, right? There's a big differentiation between these massive corporate giants who are taking something that George created and perverting it into their own idea to whatever, and what it actually used to be. And, as long as I'm around, I'm never going to let that go, right? And I'll always continue to speak my mind. And I think that's very, very important. I think everyone has a right to speak their mind, whether they like the new stuff or they don't. And as long as you are respectful, I think that's the most important thing. So, it's good to have discussions and discourse. Just be respectful about it. Remember, we're each, people, we're humans. And it's okay to disagree on stuff. That being said, plain and simple right here is what George is talking about. Is that it's not what he intended it to be. And it makes me sad. It makes me quite sad. But hey, let's just keep it going and try to course correct as much as we can with all of the new stuff. Anyways. Hurts. Anyways, should we watch some clips of George? Perhaps. Where was it? It was here.
With a movie, and he published on the internet a photo of you, Francis, and Paul, and he said about "Come Together Again." This group that we created is what we call the New Hollywood. Did you realize at the time that you guys were changing everything, every rule, that you were...
We came in and he said, how many of you guys want to make films? Everybody raised their hands up. None of you are going to get make films. That's about as far as you're going to get. So if you want to make films, this is a hopeless exercise, and you're going to waste 2 years and forget it. So but the secret was that we all loved movies. And all we really wanted to do was make movies, even if they were just short films at school. And that was a magic time in Hollywood, which is where USC is, where the people who founded Hollywood and founded the studios, they were all retiring because this was in the mid-60s. And in the 60s, they were all in their mid-70s, their 80s, and they were leaving, and so the studios were bought up, get in the truck, and we drive across country. Phil Kaufman was up there.
Trying to find the one where he talks about Star Wars.
John Forty was up there.
I'm looking for the clip.
Saul Zaentz was up there. And so, I wasn't completely a void. And we said, we're going to be here. We don't want to go to Los Angeles. We don't want to be part of that. It's just not what we want. So we started making films in San Francisco. And that gave us the freedom to pretty much...
Oh, here's another one. It's pretty cool. Talk about this. George Lucas rejects Star Wars critics who think the first 6 films are all white men. Most of the people are aliens. Oh, boy. When speaking about the success of the franchise ahead of receiving the festival's honorary Palme d'Or, Lucas reflected on some of the negative comments he's received over the years. They would say it's all white men, Lucas said of the film's critics. Most of the people are aliens. The idea is you're supposed to accept people for what they are, whether they're big and furry or whether they're green or whatever. The idea is all people are equal. Lucas went on to say the only beings in the Star Wars universe who were discriminated against were robots. This was a way of saying, you know, people are always discriminating against something, and sooner or later, that's what's going to happen, he said. I mean, we're already starting with AI, saying, well, we can't trust these robots. As for the issue of race, Lucas said, in the first one, there were a few Tunisians who were dark. And in the second one, I had Billy Williams, and the prequels, which they were also criticizing, I had Sam Jackson. He wasn't a scoundrel like Lando, he was one of the top Jedi. Lucas also responded to criticism about the depiction of women in the Star Wars films, saying, who do you think the heroes are in these stories? What do you think Princess Leia was? She's the head of the rebellion. She's the one that's taking this young kid who doesn't know anything and this boisterous I know everything guy who can't do anything and trying to save the rebellion with these clowns. And it's the same thing with Queen Amidala. He continued, you can't just put a woman in pants and expect her to be a hero. They can wear dresses. They can wear whatever they want. It's their brains and their ability to think and plan and be logistical. That's what the hero is. Holy shit. I mean, for years, Disney has been trying to paint many Star Wars, and we're not talking about racist and sexist assholes that are out there. Those come in any fandom. Those are just shitty people in general. We're talking about how Disney has tried to paint so many Star Wars fans as sexist or misogynist simply because we don't like Rey. Remember when Freddie Prinze Jr. said we don't like Rey because we gave the Millennium Falcon to a girl or something like that? That kind of bullshit. Yeah, how about this? How about the fact that fans have loved Leia, Padme, Ahsoka, Bastila Shan, Satele Shan, Mara Jade, Asajj Ventress. Who else am I missing here? I'm probably missing a few, but I mean, the list goes on the amount of badass females that we've loved in Star Wars. And we just don't like a few of the poorly written one, not because they're females, but because they're poorly written by incompetent writers that A, don't understand Star Wars, and B, don't know how to write a proper character with a character arc. And I'll be the first and last person to say that. So, I mean, I think it's right here, you know. What he's essentially saying is you don't need to make a woman look any certain way. You don't need to put them in a suit and pants to be a hero. They can wear dresses. They can be feminine. They can be whatever they want. But it's their brain and their character arc that makes them the hero. And I think that just shits all over every amount of abuse that we've been getting from all of these Disney executives and some of the people at Lucasfilm who have just been little dicks to fans. So, that right there. The Festival de Cannes has always held a special place in my heart, Lucas said in a statement when the honorary palm was announced. I was surprised and elated when my first film, THX 1138, was selected to be shown in a new program for the first time directors called the Directors Fortnight. Since then, I have returned to the festival on many occasions in a variety of capacities as a writer, director, and producer. I'm truly honored by this special recognition, which means a great deal to me. The most recent Indiana Jones installment, The Dial of Destiny, premiered at Cannes last year, but Lucas did not attend the festival, making his... No shit, he didn't appear. Funny how he doesn't appear at Indiana Jones or episode 8 and 9 premieres. You'd think he'd be there. I mean, silence speaks louder than words sometimes. Anyways, I mean, I don't know how much more these delusional people need to see from George and have him say certain things. But you're misinterpreting it. No, dude, what do you mean? It's literally right here. If they want to live in their dream world, that's fine. Go live in your dream world. But it's all documented. So, I mean, say what you like, but this is the way it is. I'm tired of people calling the general Star Wars fans out there as sexist or racist. It's such bullshit, dude. We just want good stories. And we've loved women in Star Wars since the dawn of Star Wars. It just takes a compelling character and good writing to create that. Otherwise, you have You know, it could be a man or woman. If it's shit, it's shit. Shitty character. You know. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird. Weird. Anyways, on to the third segment of this video, this live stream. We're going to be looking at the reviews for the Acolyte, which I have not looked at yet. So before I do that, I'm going to read some of the super chats. We've got 1,600 people in the chat, just about. If y'all could hit the like button, it'd be great. What's up, Aaron? What up, Anthony? Landon? Az? Death Eater says, talk to Hayden at all since the convention. Any chance of him contributing to Vader episode 2 or 3 or appearing on the channel? I don't think that would be... I don't think Disney would allow that to happen. And so me and Nick, we talk on the sidelines a lot about stuff, but, you know, with Hayden, he's under contract with them, man. And you know, they don't invite me to their stuff. They know that I'm very candid and I can't be bought. So, you know, message heard loud and clear. So I don't really want to, I don't really want to make too many things public if me and Hayden hang out, which we haven't yet. Any future plans for a dark side Dooku saber? June is a big month. You guys are going to be getting some really cool new designs coming. Some that you've been waiting for a long time. We need more Hayden. I don't get why they make no Vader series. There's probably nothing that gets Disney more money. Do you know if Hayden is active? I think he's active. For sure. For sure. There's no way they're going to not put him in something, right? He's the most popular character in Star Wars. I put 2 of your sabers through multiple duels yesterday with no issues. I love the high quality and build of your sabers. Thank you, Theory. Right on, B-Man. Hey, if you could write a review, everything is, you know, it goes through the system, so we see that if you actually are, we've had a few fake people write reviews, and we saw they like just made an account and never purchased anything. But if you go and make a review with your account, that'd be greatly appreciated, man, on the sabers that you purchased. You know, like a whatever star review. It's great listening to others love Star Wars. I watched The Phantom Menace in theaters May 19th, the exact date of the 25-year anniversary. 100% worth it on the big screen. Sure is, isn't it? It's a totally different experience. Come back to Night Shift Theory. Miss the talks. Oh, dude, I know. I've been so busy. I miss the talks. I miss gaming. You know, but I miss my Cobra Kai channel. I've just been so busy, dude. Your Kenobi video made me depressed. Like, how incompetent are these people, bro? Disney, Star Wars is a bunch of what ifs, and it's such a shame. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, my man. It is super weird to me. George's world building was top tier, and he was always expanding on that. I feel like Disney tries to operate strictly within the boundaries that George created, and this isn't nearly as compelling. I agree, dude. Nice to see you, Sand. What up, Lou? What up, Will? All right, Theory, I know it was hard to find the other day. Torn Wars, what if Ahsoka and Anakin rescued Palpatine Part 3? He used clips of your voice, and you're in the thumbnail. It's cool. You'll laugh. Well, maybe we'll watch it after we do the reviews for the Acolyte. Star Wars is now about agendas. Watch this new show. Yeah, it's not really about Star Wars anymore. Big 44 months. Shout out Hank Aaron. What up, Hank Aaron? Thank you, Benjamin. Lucasfilm, Star Wars, like the prequel Jedi. Oh, disappeared. Had become something they were not intended to be. Ironic. May the Force be with you always. And this is why we cancel Disney Plus. You know what? If you want to go ahead and do that, I understand. I think for me, I almost have like an obligation at this point to watch and consume all of the stuff. First of all, it's my channel, right? Second of all, I need to be able to be vocal. I need to see the shit and vocalize either my disdain or praise for it. And be like, this is great. We need to go down this path. We got to continue this. This is awesome stuff. Or no, I don't agree with this. I think it should have been like that. This isn't congruent with what George would have done. Blah, 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 in my opinion. So I think it's good either way. If you want to abstain, go ahead. If you want to watch it and critique it respectfully, I think that's also a great idea. Couldn't agree more with you, Theory. Thanks, Mitchell. For every 5 guys, there's 1 girl. More vids on X. What? Like on Twitter? Oh, there's more vids on Twitter. I see. Click clips of him. Let's see here. Oh shit, here we go.
The company and to it. The force. Nobody understood the force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones when I sold the company, and they, a lot of those ideas that were in there sort of got lost. But that's the way it is. To it.
Bro.
The force. Nobody understood the force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones.
He was going to stop what he was saying there. What they do is they take stuff and they just bastardize it and destroy it.
The force. Nobody understood the force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones when I sold the company, and they, a lot of those ideas that were in there sort of got lost. But that's the way it is.
It's the way it is, George. And as long as we're here, we're going to make sure that your stories are never, ever, ever forgotten, and everyone's going to be held accountable that makes new stories going forwards. That's for sure. And they can call us whatever they want, man. Toxic, whatever. Toxic because we have love for the man who created Star Wars. Toxic because we speak our minds respectfully. I'm not talking about the disrespectful people. That's on both ends. But as a Star Wars fan, I think it's very important to always vocalize how you feel respectfully. Don't be agitated or rude or, take cheap shots. Vocalize how you feel. Be respectful. Be kind. Be polite. But stand up for what you believe in. In this world, we only have a few things, and I think integrity and being true to oneself and your values is something that is almost like a forgotten substance where everyone feels like they got to be a clone of one another and just be a sheep. Oh, the crowd is doing this? Oh, okay, I guess I'll do that too. Oh, this is what you think? Oh, I guess I'll think this too. No, what the fuck? What do you think? Tell me. Talk to me. How do you feel? I think this is garbage. I think what they're doing with Star Wars is garbage. I think they're not going down the right direction. I think they've completely splintered off, and they've taken what George created, and literally, it got lost.
To it. The force. Nobody understood the force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones when I sold the company, and they, a lot of those ideas that were in there sort of got lost. But that's the way it is.
Take from that what you will. Take from that what you will. All right. Shall we move on to the Acolyte reviews? Until there's a Kit Fisto saber on the site, I will spend every day smashing my head on a wall while I listen to Taylor Swift and eat unsalted nuts. Well, some would call that a good Sunday. Hey, man, love from France. Love your work. Love you too, Lucas. George Lucas is badass. Tell it like it is. Always, dude. You don't give a shit. Hey, Theory, I can't wait for the streams of the next Jedi game that releases. I love them and played at the same time. Oh, yeah, those were great, dude. Jedi 3 is a... See, there's some stuff that they do really well. I feel like the books that they release are good. The games they release, for the most part, are good. I don't know why Disney keeps caring about what critics think. The fans are where the money is at, and they always seem to slap them in the face. Yeah, because they're trying to change the whole thing around. It's run by a bunch of people who are more focused on politics than actual story. And people who don't really understand Star Wars, in my opinion. Just ordered the Ghost Flame Saber a day or two ago. Can't wait to try it and do a review. Keep doing what you're doing, Theory. You're the man. Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And can't wait for you to get it. It'll be cool. All right, let's go ahead and check these reviews. Star Wars The Acolyte reviews. Critics share strong first reactions. Updated yesterday. The Acolyte had its first official showings for critics. If you didn't know, The Acolyte had a red carpet premiere for the first 2 episodes, I think it was. And they premiered it. Who shared overwhelmingly strong reactions to the Disney Plus series from Star Wars. Star Wars' newest series will take fans back in time to the High Republic era, providing a look at the earliest point in the on-screen Star Wars timeline to date. Marking the first time in Star Wars history that a project features the Sith in leading roles. LeMayo, dude, every time I say that... every time I say that, it's a Sith that's in the Acolyte, because it has a red lightsaber, people are like, it's not a Sith. It doesn't retcon anything. You just have to wait and see. But it's like, bro, literally, like right here, all these articles themselves are calling it a Sith. It's like, what Jedi wields a red lightsaber, and in the trailer itself, the Jedi are fearful of this thing? Clearly, it's the opposition. What the, like, what are they gonna, like, take the red lightsabers out and start playing tic-tac-toe together? Like, oh, hey, I don't know, I just got this red one. I don't know what this is. I got this scary Slipknot mask on. I'm just here to... No, bro, it's a Sith. Call it an Acolyte, a Dark Jedi, Sith, whatever it is. It ain't on the light side. It's there to kill Jedi. Literally in the trailer says something's killing Jedi. And then they kind of reveal the fact that it's a twin. Why? I mean, what the heck? Anyways, The Acolyte will bring plenty of epic lightsaber and force-wielding action in a story working as a prequel for the entire Skywalker saga. Yeah, all those Jedi better be completely dusted, or else it ain't gonna make sense. Critics' first reactions to The Acolyte. All right, here we go. Gizmodo's Jermaine Lucier called the first 2 episodes an interesting, fun, character-driven, interesting. I don't want to watch a Star Wars project and say, it's interesting. Fun, character-driven mystery that brings stakes into the equation while praising how it fits. So it's like a murder mystery. Beholden to nothing except being Star Wars, The Acolyte soars. It's an interesting, fun, character-driven mystery with real stakes that you care about, bolstered by all the fixings that make it Star Wars. Saw the first 2 episodes and loved them. Okay. Jamie Girac from Comic Book was in disbelief at how much it's living up to her expectations, giving credit to the work director Leslie Headland put in. I've waited so long for The Acolyte, and I cannot believe how much it's living up to my expectations. I love the first 2 episodes. It's so exciting to see a new, old era explored in live action. Leslie Headland did a dynamite job fleshing out these characters. I'm obsessed. Yeah, well, I hope it's great. And again, I'm not going to sit here and shit on it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I wasn't invited to the premiere. 4 episodes into Star Wars, The Acolyte. 4? Bro, they saw half the show? But they premiered half the show? 4 episodes into Star Wars The Acolyte, and it's a mixed experience. The lore hints a KOTOR potential, yet the pacing occasionally lags. While the fight scenes are engaging, they often feel misplaced. Damn. Hoping to see stronger performances and clearer narrative direction soon. Shit, who did this? The movie podcast Anthony Gagliardi called The Acolyte a mixed experience. He sees its potential by comparing it to the Knights of the Old Republic video game, but he also said the fight scenes often feel misplaced. I'm already getting like a vision that this is going to be... that the whole clipping thing is going to be worse than my Andor take. Screen Rant's Joe Deckelmeyer got the Kill Bill vibes. From this series, heaping praise on star Amandla Stenberg and was left wanting more in a good way from each episode. Well, are you ever left wanting more in a bad way? I don't know. I want more, but in a bad way. Star Wars The Acolyte gives me Kill Bill vibes. Every episode left me wanting more in a good way. We've seen so much about the fall of the Jedi, but this show explores what the Jedi were like during peacetime, which is quite fascinating. Collider's Perry Nemiroff held nothing back in calling The Acolyte a very big winner, specifically pointing out the attention to practical effects and the stunts, along with the way the story explores how the Jedi Order operates. I've seen 4 episodes of The Acolyte, and thus far, it's a very big winner. The cast of characters, the heavy emphasis on practical effects, the stunts, how they're exploring what it means to be a Force user.
To it. The Force, nobody understood the Force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones when I sold the company, and they, a lot of those ideas that were in there sort of got lost. But that's the way it is.
Well, I guess we'll see what it means to be a Force user and how the Jedi operates. Interesting. Nemiroff continued to heap praise on Amanda Stenberg, calling her the headliner of a story like this needs. And expressing her desires to see much more of Stenberg's fight scenes. Amanda Stenberg is the headliner a story like this needs. She's got her hands full with this one, and she stores tackling the challenge. I could also watch her command the screen during the fight scenes for hours. The precision and grace with which May fights makes the combat exhilarating to watch, but also function as beats that speak to who she is and how she chooses to operate in a given moment. Screen Rant's Caitlin Tyrell saw the best of classic Star Wars in these episodes while complimenting them for feeling unique and new. The Acolyte is fantastic. It captures everything that is great about classic Star Wars while feeling new and unique. You know why they don't invite me to these things? Because they know I'm going to come out of it. I'm going to be like, I'm going to tell you how to be like, guys, this was freaking amazing. It was so good. I can't wait to watch it all with you. Or I'm going to be like, what the hell was this? I'm a mixed bag. I'm just saying. The fight scenes are phenomenal and the visuals are stunning. Well, I guess we'll see in a couple weeks. With an intriguing mystery and a top-notch cast, this is a show every Star Wars fan needs to watch. Well, I guess we'll see. Peter Serrera from Slash Film shared similar feelings about The Acolyte. New, fresh, and different from anything Star Wars has done before. Wow. Praising the action for feeling movie level. Saw the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte. I loved that it felt so much like classic Star Wars, while at the same time feeling new, fresh, and different from anything we've seen before. The action felt movie level. As opposed to show level, I imagine. That's good news. Laughing Place called The Acolyte a blast, describing it as gripping. I'm waiting to see if there's going to be one like Donald Johnson called The Acolyte a heaping pile of shit. It was the worst thing he's ever seen. Like, is there ever going to be something like that? Well, hopefully not. I'm just saying. But a blast describing it as a gripping noir-style murder mystery featuring the Jedi as space detectives, while praising its fight sequences and world building. The Acolyte is a blast, a gripping noir-style murder mystery in a galaxy far, far away, with the Jedi as space detectives. So much world building and fleshing out of the mythology already in the first 2 episodes, punctuated by some pretty kick-butt fight sequences. Vault Comics' F.J. DeSanto saw The Acolyte as a Star Wars homage to the classic Shaw Brothers movies that created new pathways into the larger universe. What? Who are the Shaw Brothers? The first 2 episodes of The Acolyte are a Star Wars homage to classic Shaw Brothers movies while also opening new doors to the larger universe. The characters are fun and action is great. This show has a lot of promise. Super excited to see where it goes. Who are the Shaw Brothers, guys? They all just say very general things here. Yeah. Kind of, hey. Oh, well. Coming to life, courtesy of a record-breaking budget, the Acolyte record-breaking budget. What's their budget? Disney Plus sets massive Star Wars budget for 2024 show. Hold on. What's the budget for the Acolyte? Spending big on the Acolyte? Disney has spent more on the Acolyte in pre-production than it did for the theatrical release Rogue One. I think I did a story on this. I forgot. The Star Wars Disney Plus series reportedly cost $49.2 million in just pre-production spending, which is $5.5 million more than Rogue One's pre-production budget. So what did it cost at the end of it? The upcoming Skeleton Crew currently holds the record for the most expensive Star Wars streaming series with a reported budget of $136 million. Vader Episode 2, $500,000. Vader Episode 3, $500,000. We're going to see how it stacks up. You know, I've been talking about this for years, so you best believe, like, it better be good or else I'm going to be laughed into oblivion, right? I'll lose all credibility. So I'm taking it very serious. Another series in Andor had a pre-production budget that was quite a bit higher, 38% than the Acolytes. However, much of this... Given the title's gargantuan pre-production number, it would not be all that surprising if the series came in right about Andor's $100 million. How much did it cost? Interesting. Interesting. Huh. Crazy. The Acolyte appears to give viewers what they have been asking for in terms of production value, action, fight sequences, and visuals in the first 2 episodes. Okay, well, you described like a high-budget fan film. Like, does it feel Star Wars? Is it a good story? Does it feel like it's within the world? And that comes down to all of the ways it's shot, slow-mo being taken out, all that. While Disney already spoiled certain aspects of the new series, there are plenty of secrets that remain hidden as this first chronological battle between the Jedi and the Sith begins to unfold. Combine that with a record-breaking number of Jedi characters. A record-breaking number of Jedi characters? Have we forgotten about the Genosian Arena in Episode 2? It was like when Charmin, whatever, said that she's the first Star Wars female writer. It's like, dude, these people, like, what are you talking about? And then you got Leslie Headland right here, like, taking this one. And then you got Deborah Chow, who's a director. And then you got Bryce Dallas Howard. Talented woman. I don't know, bro. I'm just protective of what George made. That's all it is. All it comes down to at the end of the day. And I will never not be. Anyways. Sent you more vids of George from Cannes on Twitter. Like in mentions. Where are we at here? How do I don't Twitter. Where are my mentions? Ah, notifications. Right. Okay.
Told the company, I just sort of said, because I had a baby girl.
Wait, what?
I didn't.
It's, When I sold the company, I just sort of said, because I had a baby girl, I got married, I had a different life, and I said, I'm gonna, and I didn't, because I knew it would take me another 10 years to make those films. And I said, and I was 69, and I said, I'm not gonna be doing this when I'm 79. And I want, it's time to let go and let somebody else do it. Even though, like with Empire Strikes Back and some, I ended up having to be on the set the whole time, but it's like, I was the only one that really knew what Star Wars was, and Kirsch and I were really good friends, so it was like, and so I was like the consultant, the advisor who actually knew the world, because there's a lot to it. The Force, nobody understood the Force. Nobody, what they do is, and then they started other ones when I sold the company, and they, a lot of those ideas that were in there sort of got lost. But that's the way it is.
And you're watching Brutes.
Hi Gus, I'm so pleased to meet you. I was wondering, in your opinion, as a writer, producer, director, movie lover, what makes a great movie for you? What does it take?
Movies are images that move. I'm fascinated, and always been fascinated, especially in the beginning, on the movement of the image. And you're watching, especially in the beginning, on the movement of the image. And then I tied up with Francis Coppola, and he's a writer, director of actors. And I was an editor and cameraman, the film thing. So we had two different specialties. And we became friends. I became an assistant. We started a company together. So the idea of making movies, which I really discovered when I went to film school, which I didn't even know there was a film school, but I ended up thinking I was going to do a photography school. But I ended up, and once I got there, I loved this. But it really is, but I was sort of an anti-story person. But once I got into film school, and then after with Francis's influence, because he was an actor's director and a writer.
He still looks great, man.
He helped me learn how to write, and as a result, I started making
He's 80.
more Hollywoody kind of movies.
Why do you think the Star Wars saga has marked the audience and crossed generations until today?
Well, it's about, it was designed as a film for 12-year-olds to say, you're going through puberty, you're very confused, you don't know what's going on, who am I, what am I doing here, what should I do, where should I go, what's my life going to be? And so I said I wanted to make a movie for them, and I wanted to make it entertaining. And when I was that age, I liked to watch Flash Gordon and Republic serials and that sort of thing. And so I said, well, I'll base it on that, and then I'll plug all this other stuff into it. And that's really what I think, when I did it, everybody said, oh, spaceships, let's just put spaceships in a movie. And I said, that's not what it is at all. And so it's much more than
Someone asks, is this a recent interview? Yeah, this is from yesterday.
An action-adventure film.
Was there a moment when you realized it had become a milestone in pop
posted, yes.
culture, that everything was changed?
Well, that was when when I finished it, the other two films were not well liked by the studios. They didn't want to even release American Graffiti. And the board of directors of Fox was having some financial problems. They didn't like it. They said, oh, this is not going to save us.
The audience did.
Yeah, well, the same thing with American Graffiti. They loved it. But finally, we convinced the studio that they should release it, because they were going to release it as a television show. And I said, no, this this actually, people like this movie. And Star Wars was really designed that way. But the board of directors didn't like it. So, but I had, you know, Alan Ladd Jr. and some of the top executives there were very much on my side. So that helped me a lot. And, but when it came out, you know, the people were around the block. It was all crazy. And I said to Laddie, Alan Ladd Jr., who was the president of the studio, I said, look, all science fiction films do great in the first week. That's just the way it is. And so let's not worry about it, lines around the block in the first week, because that's just, they just like science fiction films. And, and then I went off to Hawaii to be on the beach, and Steve Spielberg and I sat around and made sandcastles and things. And then I began to read, and some of my friends from the United States called and said, turn on Walter Cronkite tonight, turn on the news. I turned it on, and they did a whole thing about what a phenomenon it was, and that's when I finally realized
You remember?
it was a big phenomenon.
I remember I saw the first trilogy on videotapes and the prequel, the second trilogy, in a movie theater, actually the same movie theater in Paris, and it was something. And I'm wondering, if they had existed, do you think you would have released them on a streaming platform, George?
I don't know. Streaming is very powerful, and it's great. It's really upped the movie business, because the theatrical movie business was, we could see the problems, and it was not good. And so everybody was looking to streaming to save it, but nobody knew it would. And that's when Netflix took off. But at that point, I just said, look, I don't know what this is going to be. There's going to be a giant transition in the business. I don't know that much about it, and I sold the company, and I retired, basically.
In terms of special effects, animation, sound, you changed the history of cinema. How do you feel?
That's the funny thing with Star Wars, is like it doesn't matter what changes in the industry, like streaming or whatnot. George could literally like put like a pop-up shop and be like, hey, this is the only place you can watch Star Wars. And there would be a lineup for weeks, months, just to get in to see it once. That's the power of George Lucas Star Wars. Today, it's a different story.
Feel about AI, the use of artificial intelligence in this industry today?
Well, we've been using it for 25 years.
Sure.
And it's not AI, but we use all the digital technology, because we helped we pioneered a lot of that, especially at ILM, because for a while they were the only place that was doing digital. But the thing of it is that it's inevitable. I mean, it's like saying, I don't believe these cars are going to work. Let's just stick with the horses. Let's just stick with the horses. Mm-hmm. And you say, yeah, you can say that, but that isn't the way the world works.
What will cinema become in 10 years?
Same thing as it is now. There's one thing that's really, what happens now, and it happens in streaming probably more than features, but features are the same thing. Nobody knows what to do. The stories they're telling are just old movies. Let's do a sequel. Let's do another version of this movie. There's no, and it's not just in movies, but in almost everything. There's no original thinking.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people just, I saw something, let's do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's also the way the movies are sold. If you go in and say, I've got something that you've never seen before, and you don't understand it, it's very hard to get a deal. I mean, you can do it, but it's like this big studios, I mean, they don't want that. They want something that is like something they've seen.
It's
because they don't have an imagination to come up with, to see something that isn't there. I mean, I got Star Wars done mainly because at the same time I was writing the script, I hired an artist to draw pictures of what I was doing, because I knew I couldn't describe what it was was impossible. But when you see the pictures, you say, oh, I get it. And that was really what made the movie, what sold it.
It's interesting because with Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Brian De Palma, you were part of what we call the new Hollywood. Interestingly, Martin Scorsese said he didn't think of Marvel movies as cinema. Do you agree with him?
Look, cinema is the art of the moving image. So if the image moves, then it's cinema, you know. And I think Marty's kind of changed his mind a little bit. But you know, we're on the Film Foundation together. He started the Film Foundation, but it's directors that got together and say, we're going to try to save a lot of these movies because they're falling apart in warehouses somewhere. So we're going to try to make them, you know, save them so they don't disappear, because of the silent movies, like 80% of them have disappeared. You don't exist anymore. And I said, we got to stop it. So we did. But on that committee, it's like Marty and Christopher Nolan and you know, a lot of directors who wasn't happy that I was helping to pioneer digital cinema. And I was trying to sell digital cinema, and they said, no, that's not movies, that's not movies. But finally, I don't know about Christopher Nolan, but I know that Marty and a lot of the other directors have come around, and now it's almost all digital. And I said, it makes so much more sense. You can do so much more with it. We've been doing it in ILM for 20 years. And everybody said, well, the blacks aren't the same. You can't do. We were intercutting digital visual effects into analog movies. You couldn't tell there was any difference to them.
Well, thank you so much, George. Will you make another movie, a very last one?
No, I'm retired. The last one I did as a producer was a thing called Strange Magic, which is an animated film. And so I was doing movies that I wanted to do rather than, I was financing them myself. I had my own studio and I was doing all that stuff. So anyway, now I'm building a museum in Los Angeles. It's keeping me very busy.
May the force be with you.
Thank you.
He's probably like, don't fucking say that shit. It's so nice to see him just still talking, and it's just nice to see him, man. That man changed. That that man changed my life in more ways than one. Music. All right. I hope in the coming days we will see more clips from George and learn more about him, and like where his head's at with everything going on. And big congratulations to him and his award, his Lifetime Achievement Award. It's huge. And I think it's well deserved and about time. So yeah. Anyways, is there anything else you guys want me to watch or react to? Oh, I guess super chat. Franchise and story means a lot to me. It's sorry. It's just been just tired. Tired of defending him all the time. Tired of seeing what it's become. Anyways. All right. Moving on. What's up, Darth Shibs? If you can't find it, his channel's called Torn War, right? What if Disney cancels your Vader project too? They won't. They can't. They don't have any right to cancel anything because I'm not monetizing it. All the money comes from money I make on my own. So, right, that was my agreement with them that I don't crowdfund and I don't monetize the film. So I'm not crowdfunding. I'm just finding other ways to make money. Merch, sabers, YouTube. Yeah, so, and if anything, uh, it's free advertising for them. It's the best. It's more advertising than their own shows. Everything I do is advertising for Star Wars, essentially. Almost everything. Disney definitely bought those critics. Damn. Hey, Theory, I wanted to know if you ever plan on visiting Skellig Michael in Ireland. I would love to see you over there. Really appreciate you for keeping my love for Star Wars alive. That must be a beautiful place. I don't really have much interest in seeing anything to do with the sequel trilogy, but I have interest in seeing a beautiful landmark, for sure. Glad to see his interview here live on your stream. What up, Kevin? How you doing, bro? Damn, well, thanks, Matic. Huge. Never seen that emoji before. That's cool. That's funny. Well, here comes Pablo again. Yeah. Well, you know what? After hearing about all the inside details about Pablo and his position when George was at Lucasfilm, it makes me kind of understand his behavior much more. Kind of how he was treated, I suppose, but not in a bad way or anything. But I kind of understand. Like when the bullied becomes the bully. Not that he was bullied, but you know, he's just a human. Wish him the best. I wish him all the healing. Every time I hear his voice, my mind of rage and depression is clear. Keep Star Wars and franchise alive. Yeah, I'm glad George looks good. 80 years old, man. He looks great. The man's hair is more powerful than Vader himself. Seeing George well brings me great joy and relief. Yeah, I hope he's doing. I hope he's using some of that money to, um, like sustain his life and to get the best health care he can, like stem cells and um, all that stuff. But I almost feel like George just doesn't really care about that stuff. I feel like he's very Jedi in that sense, where he's like, why do I need to extend my life. Like, I'm just gonna let life do its thing, let the force do its thing. But you know, I hope he's got the best that money can buy. I hope we see George around for another like 50 years. You know, be the real emperor. Man, wouldn't that be nice? That'd be amazing. Windu versus Dooku, Attack of the Clones. Eh, that's tough. I don't want to say Windu, but I don't know, man. You can't really sleep on Dooku. An Attack of the Clones Dooku is like, that's pretty much prime Dooku right there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like Dooku's smarter. He'd figure out a way. He'd figure something. Will you have the option to sell sabers in CAD? We sell sabers all over the world, man. Especially in my own country, of course. When you go to checkout with your sabers, it updates to your currency, the country you choose. All jokes aside, love you Theory and can't wait for Vader episode 2 and 3. Love you too, man. Been sub since August 2016 and rarely get to catch live due to time zones here. Have always loved your work. Thank you, Ozzy. You've been with me since literally the beginning. That's crazy. 8 years almost. The 8-year anniversary of the channel is coming up in just about 2 months. So, I don't know if you guys would like anything. We do anything? Anything special? What up, 80s gamer? How you doing? What up, Vito? Do you think George made the right decision selling? The right decision for his life? That's for him to decide. The right decision for Star Wars as a story? No. And I believe everyone, or most people at Lucasfilm, if they were getting paid what they're getting paid now, and they had a comfortable life, and they didn't have to rely on Disney paying their bills to do the work, I'm sure many of them would agree. Right? They're getting paid to do a job. But I'm sure even then, the inside walls, you know, they know that it's different, man. It ain't the same. It's not the same. Bro, I have eh. I've got so many things that I would never leak. Um from people that work there. Just because I know it would cause a shitstorm and I just don't want to be I just don't want to do that. And I don't want to just, you know, ruin the trust I have with people. But um will we see blood and limbs cut off in Vader episode 2? You won't really see blood. Yeah, limbs, sure. But that's not the heart of it. I'm not creating those films to make a cool fight scene. Sure, it will be. But, you know, I'm creating those films to tell a story and to move people. So it'll have everything all in one. Search your feelings, you know you must leak. No. George Lucas literally said no one understands the Force at Disney, Lucasfilm, including Filoni. Yeah. I think if anyone understands anything, I think if anyone respects George Lucas at Lucasfilm, it's Filoni. So as astray as some of his ideas might be, a lot of his other ideas are the closest that we'll ever get to what George wanted. As opposed to, gosh, I don't know, Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams. Right? I'd much rather have Dave Filoni than J.J. or Ryan or, well, it's too early to tell about Leslie Headland. We'll see. Maybe it's an amazing show. I don't think it will be. But just as a man of principle, I'm not one to just shit on something before I see it. Primarily on inkling. You know? So once I watch it, then yeah, okay, then for sure I'll give my opinions, but not until then, man. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Louise. I share your feelings. We owe this man so much. I owe him everything. You know, my whole life is because of him. Literally, at this point. Yeah, you know. You never know if someone new will be in this live stream that may not know about Theory Sabers, so keep advertising, brother. Yeah. I know. It's such a like weird thing, man, like advertising your own product when you have a platform. Right? Normally you pay people to advertise your stuff with platforms. But I mean, I have the biggest Star Wars platform, so it's like like I have to talk about it. But I don't want it to be the only thing I talk about. So I kind of pick and choose and I make it, you know, a little bit more smooth. I don't want to like shove it in your face too much. I want to shove it in your face, but not too much. But at the end of the day, you know, if I don't do it, nobody will. And then, you know, the company doesn't get out there and no one gets to see our exclusives and our nice product that we have that I believe is the best product on the market. And the ideas and things that we have coming forwards, my God. I tell you guys I'm creating a combat line. These look badass, dude. Combat line is next level shit. That's cool. And that'll tie into the competition. The Acolyte seems like it's going to be like The Last Jedi, a visually well done, critically acclaimed piece of shit. Damn, bro. Tell me how you really feel. I don't know why you keep spamming that. It's really weird. A what line? A combat line. So a saber that, the line of sabers that's primarily for combat. So, Theory Sabers combat line coming. Just watch now. Everyone's going to freaking copy and do the same shit. Always. Yeah, we're making a bunch of different lines. We're doing a whole bunch of different things. It's going to be pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Anywho, oh yeah, by the way, just mentioning again, we have all of the operation guides here. Just gotta go to the user guide section. Comprende? Comprende? TheorySabers.com. Quick question. Can you ship Theory Sabers to Australia? Yes, we do. We do many shipments every day to Australia. I would love to buy cool sabers. Just want to know if I missed those. No, we ship everywhere in the world. Japan, Australia, Hawaii, Germany, the UK, Asia, wherever, man. Wherever. Wherever a shipping company can ship something, we ship. Everywhere in the world. Don't know a little secret? I'd lose money on this one. If you use the sale price, the 20% off, I lose money. So, this one comes to about $80. Go for it. Go for it. Oh yeah, now offering in 26-inch as well. All right, well, I'm going to go take the dogs out for a walk and then get back to work. So, I love you guys. I hope you had a fun time with me. Do you ship to North Korea? I don't know about that one. I don't know. Thanks for keeping the real Star Wars alive. Buzzing for Vader 2 and 3. Everything you said about Star Wars, I agree with. I love you, man. I love you too, Jamie. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Please react to Vader episode 1 and 2 by Stop Motion Commotion. Oh, interesting. That's funny. In your opinion, which saber is underrated that you sell? Oh, I'll show you right here. This one. Probably the most underrated. I shit, every time someone purchases this one and I see it on the order list, I'm like, I always say, I'm like, damn, respect. Because it's, that's a special one, dog. It's a very special one. But it's also very popular. I mean, obviously, we know which ones are the most popular. But this one's also extremely popular too. Just because it's cheap. But it's still really good. This one too. The Malice. Super badass. A really beautiful saber to hold in your hands. I'd say Survivor EP4. Easily. Easily. Very, very beautiful saber. Very, very beautiful saber. Just the detail, the way it's shaped, and the knurling, the weight distribution, and that's the important thing to note with every saber is a different weight distribution with each one, which makes it fun. So, oh, I guess we need to remove this. We sold out. Oops. Oopsies. Yeah, all right. Well, can you please do more fan fictions? Many people, including me, enjoy them. Yeah, we're doing a lot of the animated fan fictions. I don't know if you've seen or not. Which one's your fave? Can't beat it. Can't beat it. I gotta add the 26-inch option on this. I ordered my Saber on the 3rd. No update on shipping. Is there a longer time? They told me 14 days. Yeah, no. Said it should be 7 to 14 days. We needed an extra week. So, I guess 3 weeks for your time. Joey, can you reach out to support with your order number so we can keep a good track on it? Is that your name? Let me try to track you right now. Oh, dude, it was declined. Yeah. So it says declined right here for the Annie 3. So you gotta check with your bank on that. And also reach out to support. Myself or one of the team will also look into it, but it says right here. Interesting. Yeah, make sure you reach out. Keep making custom designs like Deceived, but if possible, make it available with other boards like RGB to make it affordable. Yeah, but you see, then I gotta make an entirely set of... I don't wanna do that. Maybe in the future, but they're very expensive to make. Very, very expensive. Like tens of thousands of dollars. So it's a lot. Not in the low region either. So... anyways. Do you ship to the galaxy far, far away? Of course. Joey, the inbox is not full. The inbox was full for a few hours and then it was opened. But I mean, that was just a few days ago for a couple hours. Yeah. Yeah, Joey, just create a ticket. But it literally shows... you gotta check with your bank on that. I'm gonna forward it to the team right now and see what happens. Alright. I just escalated the issue for you. Personally. We'll see what happens. But I still want you to make a ticket. Okay. Alright. Okay. Love you guys. See you in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great day.